way to undo that in order to bring about a new identity is, of course, to undo communion, is to mock the things that
There's only... Who do you attack? You try to attack the truth. You try to attack strength. So it doesn't surprise me that Christians, Catholics, Protestants, Mormons, that whole lane.
There was never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group.
It turns out Diddy's raid was just a teaser as the drama at the Olympics takes the cake for being the most disturbing to date. While woke people were trying their best to mock sacred imageries, Katt Williams' words echoed in the ears of each witness of the spectacle. Fans believe that Katt had already predicted that things were expected to get dirty when wrong people were at the top. This drama is unfolding at a rapid pace, so let's get into it. Olympics drama. Okay, so the Olympics 2024 is taking place in Paris. However, it's now making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Historically, the Olympics has been a testament to talent, values, and ethics. However, this time around, it fell short on all three.
2024 Summer Olympics in Paris have officially kicked off, and it is just not good. None of it is good. Their PR people have probably not slept since Friday. I mean, they are facing controversy after controversy.
Although the opening ceremony at the 2024 Paris Olympics brought a myriad of memorable moments, one scene from the performance has prompted mixed reactions from the fans. The ceremony was kicked off by a tableau where drag queens and dancers were lined apostles. The Christians flooded the social media because of the perceived mockery of sacred imagery.
It doesn't surprise me, but I was really incensed by it. And you look at the ownership of media, you look at who's running the media channels and look like that. And it's like, how long are you going to get away with audience just coming back?
Along with the fans, Catholic leaders of different groups were also outraged by the alleged disrespect towards their faith. Maltese Archbishop Charles Cicluna, one of the Vatican's top advisors in investigating SA cases, wrote on social media that he had contacted the Maltese embassies to France to express the distress and the disappointment of many Christians at the gratuitous insult 2024 Paris Olympics. On top of that, Archbishop Vincenzo Paglia, who heads the Vatican think tank on human life and society, also commented on the alleged ridicule of the Last Supper during the Olympic ceremony, saying, "It reveals a profound question. Everyone, truly everyone, wants to sit at that table where Jesus gave his life for all and taught love." While the Christian community was protesting against those actions as a whole, some modern French bishops tried to deeply undermine the extent of the damage. In a statement, they said, "We think of all Christians worldwide who were hurt by the excess and provocation of certain scenes. We hope faithful will see beyond the ideological biases of a few artists." Well, that did not sit well with Bishop Emmanuel Gabliard, who highlighted that the opening act was also against the policies established by the institution itself. It is contrary to the Olympic Charter, to the dimension of unity that is present in its values, to the idea of bringing everyone together without political and religious demonstrations. While the religious saga unfolded, things got more complicated. You see, social media was rife with arguments over whether the scene was meant to invoke paintings of the Greek gods gathered at Mount Olympus, such as the 1636 painting, The Feast of the Gods, by Dutch artist Jan van Bijlert, or if its true similarity was to Leonardo da Vinci's famous artistic depiction of Jesus' Last Supper. As if right on cue, the Paris 2024 spokesperson, Anne de Camps, issued a non-apology to the Christian religious groups. She said,
Clearly, there was never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group.
While trying to justify their action, she claimed, "I think with Thomas Jolly, we really did try to celebrate community tolerance. Looking at the result of the polls that we shared, we believe that this ambition was achieved. If people have taken any offense, we are, of course, really, really sorry." In a direct attempt to back up her claims, the creative director of the scene, Thomas Jolly, claimed that he was using his rights to express himself. While explaining his stance, he started boasting about his right to love. He said, "In France, we have the right to love each other, as we want and with who we want. In France, we have the right to believe or not to believe." Well, as you can imagine, their refusal of acknowledging their wrongdoing did not escape the fans' eyes. However, some fans hinted that they did not expect anything from the population that legalized blasphemy. And while taking a page out of Jolly's book, another bishop came to rationalize their choices. Interestingly, Hugo Barden, whose drag queen character Paloma took part in the tableau, was disappointed Paris 2024 had felt compelled to apologize. An apology means recognizing a mistake, recognizing that you deliberately did something to harm, which was not the case. What bothers people isn't that we're reproducing this painting. What bothers people is that queer people are reproducing it. However, despite the woke pastor's pleas, the fans were not taking the bait at all. Many felt as if the pastors were trying to play the queer victim card to rationalize blatant disrespect on their part. One even commented, "It was disgusting and in bad taste. These are the very same people who want you to be tolerant and respectful of their sensuality, but they can't afford you the same grace and courtesy. Shameful. Mocking a religion that is practiced by 2.4 billion people globally. But isn't it convenient that they never mocked any other religion apart from Christianity? Picking on easy targets is the very definition of cowardice, if you ask me." Another added, "It would be nice if one Christian Olympian denounced the blasphemy that took place during the opening ceremonies. We can talk all night long on social media about how despicable this was, but we need athletes to stand for Jesus Christ right now. Don't be silent." The two stood in front of a church near the French embassy in Bucharest to protest against the opening ceremony. This is the Last Supper. Katt Williams. Now that the opening ceremony's drama has blown over, people are starting to connect the dots to the predictions Katt Williams made at the start of the year. It's been an eventful year to say the least, from Diddy's raid to the Olympics fiasco, and all of it apparently boils down to the explosive interview Katt did at Shay Shay podcast. Fans believe that Katt's comprehensive expose set the things in motion.
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
Not only that, Katt even hinted at the alleged demonic rituals that took place under the wraps in the entertainment industry. During the podcast, Katt also highlighted that he was not afraid of the higher-ups canceling him because he is firm in his faith. Katt hinted that the higher-ups offer extraordinary money to people so that they would dance to their beats. He alluded that people in the entertainment industry seem to gloss over the demonic things because their pockets are filled. At one point, Katt allegedly compared the higher-ups to Satan. He said, "Satan can't create anything. That includes blessings for his people. That's why you know that the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is to act like it didn't happen." Now, according to Katt, the propaganda behind the Hollywood fiasco is very deep. He claimed that the alleged higher-ups that run the world cook up propaganda to further their cause and to deceive the people from realizing the truth. While it may sound far-fetched, Katt has receipts to prove his claims. He pointed out that he knew about the trans movement long before it started surfacing.
Hollywood is not really there to entertain you. Like, that's great that happens, but propaganda is something that is important to all civilizations.
You might not know, but Katt Williams has always been a pain for the Hollywood elites. In a previous interview with Jamal Finkley on his YouTube channel, Black Tree, Katt spilled the beans on his dress-wearing scheme you all might be familiar with. You see, Katt revealed his thoughts on the controversy of Kevin Hart wearing the dress in one of his Saturday Night Live skits. But Kevin wasn't alone. Knee-deep in this trap, Eddie Murphy and Jamie Foxx were right beside him to keep him company. Katt hinted that this was a full-fledged strategy to make fun of black people while making money off them. Katt highlighted the irony of the situation, as the majority of the audience found amusement in witnessing a black man wearing a dress. However, he alluded that such a reaction would unlikely be reciprocated if the roles were reversed, and their fair-skinned counterparts were in a similar position.
The case, then it might also be said that there's nothing funnier than a black guy in a dress. Okay.
In addition to that, Williams carefully indicated that he has observed many artists facing the same hurdle time and time again in their careers. So considering Williams' observations, it can be suspected that someone above has been directly targeting the black icons to dampen their image in the public eye, which might be possible as back in the day, Dave Chappelle also stood beside Katt on these claims. Let's not forget that Katt even weighed in on the various essay allegations Sean Diddy Combs faces, sharing that he once turned down an invitation to one of the producers' parties due to the allegations floating around at the time. Hip Hop DX reported, I gotta protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about, 'cause P. Diddy be wanting to party, and you got to tell him no. I still have a virgin butt and never have sucked a private to get this far in Hollywood. You got to tell him no. I did. I got the receipts for everything, I'm telling you. Fans believe that it was Katt's way of hinting how deep the S crimes are in Hollywood. His words were only proven when the scene actually had an underage girl who was rubbed against in a very inappropriate way. Other Olympic controversies. Anyway, even before the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics, the Canadian Olympic team is mired in scandal. For those who don't know, a Canadian soccer staffer was arrested and received a suspended 8-month prison sentence for flying a drone over the opposing team's practice. He, along with another Team Canada coach, was sent back to Canada by the Olympic Committee. And reports suggest that the opening ceremony was just the tip of the iceberg. You see, we all know how there's been a rise of trans females that are allowed to compete against women. Well, it would have been all right if that were always the case. However, last year, female boxers were disqualified at the 2023 World Championships after being judged to have failed gender eligibility tests and having complied with all the rules to fight at the Games. However, Lin Yuting of Taiwan and Imani Khalif of Algeria are now competing at their second Summer Games. Both finished outside the medals at the Tokyo Olympics held in 2021. Both were removed from their competitions in New Delhi last year at the World Championships, run by the International Boxing Association, which has been banished from Olympic boxing since before the Tokyo Games. You might have noticed that in recent years, gender eligibility has become a growing controversy in relation to sport, and since the most recent Tokyo Olympics, some sports bodies have updated their gender rules. Several of these governing bodies now ban athletes who went through male puberty from competing in women's events. As a result, the IOC has appointed officials to run boxing at 2 straight Summer Games and acknowledged that the tournament rules for Paris are descended from those in place 8 years ago at the Rio de Janeiro Olympics. And their main reasoning was to minimize the impact on the athletes' preparation and guaranteeing consistency between Olympic Games. They said in a statement, "All athletes participating in the boxing tournament for the Olympic Games Paris 2024 comply with the competition's eligibility and entry regulations, as well as all applicable medical regulations."
Olympics. In boxing, hear that again. These biological men with XY chromosomes are going to be fighting with women. And we're all supposed to just nod our heads and clap our hands like seals.
The thing is, neither boxer has explicitly identified as transgender. It is suspected that both are impacted by a difference of S development, DSD, meaning they have both male and female genitalia. And when spokesperson Mark Adams was asked about the committee's decision to allow these 2 athletes to compete in the women's category, he said, "These athletes, boxers, are entirely eligible. They are women on their passport. They've competed for many years. I actually think it's not helpful to start stigmatizing people who take part in sports like this, but they are women. They competed in the Tokyo Olympics. I think we all have a responsibility, by the way, to try to dial down this and not turn it into some kind of witch hunt. These are regular athletes who have competed for many years in boxing." On top of that, the Olympics also issued new guidelines to protect such individuals from the probing questions by the journalists. Fans believe that it might be because they don't want to be called out on television during this sensitive time. According to the International Olympic Committee's IOC updated portrayal guidelines, using the terms biological male or biological female in reference to trans athletes is problematic. The IOC updated its guidelines this week for how Olympic-affiliated media and outside outlets should appropriately cover athletes in regard to their diverse identities. This 3rd edition also featured a list of problematic terms that should be avoided when covering transgender people competing in the Olympics. A person's S category is not assigned based on genetics alone, and aspects of a person's biology can be altered when they pursue gender-affirming medical care. The IOC guide stated in its section listing biologically male and biologically female as problematic language. The press release published along with the document described its purpose, saying it seeks to raise awareness about the differences in how sports women and women's sports are portrayed in comparison to their male counterparts. It also claimed that the guidelines provide practical checklists and advice to help ensure gender equal and fair representation of all athletes across all forms of media and communication. The guide also provided tips on how to break gender-based preconceptions and stereotypes. Well, if you thought that was all the controversies the Olympics had this week, you were sorely mistaken. For context, Van de Velde, the volleyball player, pleaded guilty to 3 counts of R against a child for events that occurred in 2014. He reportedly flew from Amsterdam to London in 2014 to meet with a 12-year-old girl he met online, and then had S with her and advised her to get a morning after pill. Staff at a family planning clinic then alerted her family and the police, and that's how he was caught. In 2016, he was sentenced in England to 4 years in prison. He served 1 year in Britain before he was transferred to the Netherlands and released 1 month later. Turns out that had he been tried in his home country, he likely would not have been convicted of R, and instead, his actions would have been considered the lesser crime of ontucht. That is, S actions that violate social ethical norms. Van de Velde resumed his volleyball career after his release. He qualified for the 2024 Paris Olympics in his national pair with Immers, which immediately sparked controversy around the world. It was later announced Van de Velde would not stay in the Olympic Village, and he has not done any interviews. Fans believe that the whole Olympics organization has been sheltering a convict just to preach inclusivity. Unsurprisingly, the Dutch Volleyball Federation claimed that Van de Velde was proving to be an exemplary professional and human being, and there has been no reason to doubt him since his return. Velde himself, in the statement released by Navobo, said, "I understand that in the run-up to the biggest sporting event in the world, this can attract the attention of international media. I cannot reverse it, so I will have to bear the consequences. It has been the biggest mistake of my life." However, his so-called mistake destroyed the childhood of an innocent child. The Survivors Trust expressed their displeasure on Van de Velde's remorse and said, "The fact that Van de Velde is allowed to continue his career after admitting the biggest mistake of his life is further endorsement of the shocking toleration we have of child SA. The R of a child was planned, calculated, involving international travel, and will undoubtedly cause his victim lifelong trauma, irreversibly changing the course of her life. As a society, we have to start embracing a zero-tolerance approach to this heinous and costly crime." Fans are understandably calling for a boycott to Olympics after these serious controversies. I'm done with the Olympics. It's a business. No viewers, no spectators, no money, no Olympics. That's all for today. We hope you liked that video, and if you did, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos just like this.